It is Saturday, January 27th, and you are watching You Don't Watch Sports right here on the Feo Grande YouTube network. I am Bill Smith, and I am here joined with my man, the myth, the legend, Omari Ellis. Omari, how was your sports week?
Thank you very much, Bill. It's fine. It's fine because, some people, while a lot of people are having a hard time finding jobs these days, it's fine to know that rich people are having hard times finding jobs too, especially ones who spent the last like 20 or so years in Boston or so. You know who it is. Bill
Mm.
Belichick ain't being hired by nobody, and that's funny. Anyway, um, yeah, aside from that, pretty good sports
Perfect.
week.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, let's get down to it because we got a lot to cover today. First up, NFL is knee deep in their playoffs, and we had eight gigantic games last weekend that we need to talk about real quick, and then two big ones coming up. We had four. We
We
had
had
four.
four.
We had four big
We
games.
had four games.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, we
Yeah. I
had
knew
four
it as soon
games
as I
last
said it. I said it
weekend.
right, and then I corrected myself wrongly. And then the second I corrected myself, I was like, nope, you're right the first time, but we're just going to keep going forward.
Fair enough. Going forward, which is exactly what Baltimore did against Houston. They moved that ball forward as much as they needed to, winning 34-10. The debut year of CJ Stroud ends in the divisional round, but boy, what a debut he had. But Lamar Jackson out here proving why, oh, but he's just a running back. Nah, he's here to try and get a championship.
Yeah, are
Meanwhile,
they not kind of catching that vibe right now? Are they I feel like they have this vibe of like it's feeling like it's their season right now.
yeah,
Like for a
that's the
minute we
vibe
had
I
it
have for it.
like maybe the 49ers have had that ball for a
Mhm.
good chunk of the season, and then at some point at like week 15 we passed it over to Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore started coming in, getting a lot hotter and hotter, and I think around week 15, San Francisco had their second loss of the season. So suddenly, Brock Purdy isn't good enough to be here like anybody else, despite the fact that Brock Purdy helped his team win a close one against Green Bay on Saturday, where 24-21, San Francisco moves on to the NFC Championship. Sunday, we found out who their opponents were going to be as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost to the Detroit Lions, keeping it up with no more in 2024, saying no more being a bad team. We're here to be good for once. 30 years is long enough. We're coming for that championship.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, it just reminded me of this team. Anyway, but yeah, fucking Lions. Meanwhile, we got the we got Kansas City, Buffalo people. If you want to talk about accusing the NFL of script writers and putting scenarios together, like when we talked about wild card weekend, all these former quarterbacks going against their former teams, or when the Stafford went to fight the Lions while Watson was fighting the Houston, while Green Bay was doing some other shit. It's like Jesus Christ, so much of this. Well, Buffalo, unfortunately, had a script repeated on them, where for the umpteenth time in history, they lost the game, this time to the Kansas City Chiefs, on a field goal kick that went wide right.
Wide right.
Wide right. It just
Now,
had to
all
go.
all reports all reports from the field, Omari. In I'm the name is escaping me of the Buffalo kicker
Yeah.
right now. But all reports from the field were that wind was insane. That
Oh yeah.
it was blowing across your feet, across your face to the from left to right, and then you could walk 10 feet forward and it'd be blowing across your face right to left. And then you'd walk 10 feet forward and it'd be kind of swirling in an upward motion. And then like so and you can see it in the ball, it just like catching this current and just boom. I mean, it starts right. It starts right. Let's be
And
honest.
then it just
But
keeps
it
going.
hooks wide
Yeah.
wide right.
Well, someone mentioned like the play call they did on the play before, they should have like run it to like recenter the thing for the kicker, knowing that the wind was what it was, but they didn't, which
Yeah.
also screwed them.
And I
But
mean, it's a lot of people are going to look at that fake punt opportunity.
with Damar Hamlin,
Yeah, that went nowhere, and I believe that was a scoring opportunity for Kansas City. So in a close game like this, every moment like that is going to be magnified. Um, but hey, script or no script, you have Kansas City coming out on top, and that puts Patrick Mahomes in his sixth AFC Championship game, which, if you haven't been living under a rock, you have heard this week. Patrick Mahomes has never not played in the AFC Championship game, which is just insane. It's
that
insane.
is
He's in every season of his career. He has
in
been
this ANC championship game.
ridiculous, ridiculous. I don't think it's script writers. I think it is QBs that
Well, I
have
mean,
that gene in them that they can just not lose.
I don't believe in script writers for sports because at the end of the day, throwing a ball and someone catching it, you can't guarantee that you're going to catch it 100 times in a row. I
True.
don't care how good you are, you're dropping one. So scripted, no, or throwing it weird with how precise you have to be with the mechanics of doing it.
Right.
That said, if you want to make the argument, it could be made, not just with the scenarios, but with the team that, has no business continuing to be winning games considering how badly they've been playing, gets one of the most celebrityist of celebrity people interested in their team, and they still
Now
make it
that's
to the Super Bowl.
come on now, Omari. That
Wow.
is entirely circumstantial.
Oh
You
yes.
didn't cite any evidence there. You just said, oh,
The argument can be
it's
made.
it's suspect because I decide it's suspect.
If you want to make the argument that the NFL sees the profitability of having Taylor Swift on screen in every game, and so let's keep the Chiefs in here as much
Mhm.
as we can. Yeah, the argument can be made. People don't have to necessarily agree with you,
I
but
just want to
people will be
remind
willing to listen.
I just want to state on record that we have not stated any evidence and that there is no evidence to that,
Nor am I
and it's
stating any claim.
ridiculous.
Nor am I one of the people making the claim. I already stated
No,
I don't believe in scripted,
right. It's just you
but
didn't, yeah, no,
it's
you
highly
didn't state it with any
coincidental.
asterisks, so
It's highly
I just added the
coincidental.
asterisk to it. It
Yes.
is not coincidental. It is not coincidental. You're making it coincidental. That's what I'm saying. It
No,
is not
coincidental
coincidental.
means it's not intentional.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just saying
I'm
anything's
agreeing with you
coincidental
when
then.
I'm saying it's coincidental.
What is coincidental? That they
That,
win and that Taylor Swift is dating Travis
yeah,
Kelsey.
that's a coincidence. That is not by design.
Well, that's just two things. That's just two things.
Yes,
Grimace is
that's
purple and
coincidental.
owls hoot. What a coincidence. What?
No. Okay, so NFL has made no money from this thing that they had no input on, but they're still getting a lot of money from all the Swifties that are buying into the NFL and turning their eyes to the NFL. NFL's not
Oh
benefiting
yeah,
from this at all.
I'm sure they're profiting from it.
Okay, but
That is a coincidence.
they did not by design say, hey, the Chiefs are going to win a lot so we can keep them in the playoffs for a
Well,
long
that
time
I would
and
say
make as
that
much money as
I would say
possible.
actually that is not a coincidence. That is by design. Because I mean, the personal camp, at least public statement wise, from the parties involved, have been requested that they allow to be in the behind the scenes, just enjoying a football game. It is a calculated effort by NFL to use Taylor Swift's presence and the fact that she's dating an NFL player to profit off of this scenario. So thus it is actually no
They're
longer
not
coincidental. It
they're
is
not fixing
entirely
the
intentional.
games.
No, they're not fixing the games.
The fact that the Chiefs happen to
But
keep
but the
winning and keep
NFL
being on bigger
the NFL
stages.
earning off
Yeah,
of Taylor Swift
the fact that
is
the
a
Chiefs keep winning and being on bigger stages for the NFL to make more money off of Taylor Swift is a coincidence, not intentional, is what I'm saying. But some people are saying, come on now, NFL, you're all about the money. So, yeah,
okay.
that's all. Bottom line is,
That's dumb shit that
I'm
doesn't
rooting
even need
for,
to
bottom
that
line
doesn't
is,
even need
I
to
want
give the
it to
time of
be
day.
Niners Ravens. Harbaugh part two. This time, John Harbaugh versus his son.
Well,
Because Brock Purdy looks just like him.
I believe in love and positivity. So on that, obviously I'm choosing the Detroit Lions because I'm not a heartless bastard like Omari. And then also I'll throw Kansas City Chiefs in there.
I don't
Uh
know. Okay, excuse me for wanting someone known as Mr. Irrelevant to become a champion. You know,
excuse me for wanting the most
the
shit
last pick
on
of the
city,
draft,
the most
the
shit on
last pick
city in
of the
this
draft.
country
But my
for
thing
the
is,
last
you're making
3
it seem
decades.
like there's no story on the other side. But there is. Now
Oh
the
no, yeah, yeah.
Lions, if the
I'm
Lions
I'm a
win,
big fan of
I'd
Lamar.
be happy if the Lions win. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just don't want the Chiefs to win.
Yeah.
And I don't even hate the Chiefs. It's
Harbaugh
just
Harbaugh's I love Omar. I
I
love
know a lot of
Lamar.
Chiefs haters.
Harbaugh's already got one. So that gives them a point down. But they do have Lamar that I'm interested in, so that gives them a point up. But the story of the underdog of Detroit is too strong
That's
for me.
cool. That's
And then
cool.
and then
And it would be nice.
in additionally, I am a fan of
At the same time, misery loves company.
ridiculous scenarios. And the most famous woman in the world potentially dating a star player for a Super Bowl team is a ridiculous scenario for me. The idea that people have already
Oh
started
no, Swift
theorizing
isn't the reason I
online
don't want the Chiefs to
the
win.
the idea that people have already been theorizing online that the Chiefs win the Super Bowl and then the most famous woman in the world gets proposed to on the field at the most watched event in the of the year is a ridiculous scenario that is like a I mean that's a ridiculous scenario and I'm here for ridiculous scenarios. So I'm down for Kansas City, Detroit, and either one winning is great for me. You get the
Well, if it's Kansas
continuation
City and
of
Detroit,
Patrick
I'm gonna
Holmes'
guarantee you
dynasty.
Kansas City's winning, so the NFL could get that. They will have the refs. That is when the chances. That is when the NFL will step in and be like, okay, refs, the Lions, they're not doing anything
No,
tonight.
they won't.
The clicks and
This
the
show is
stuff
not
we'll get
promoting
from
any of
that
that
the stuff
conspiracy
we'll get
bullshit.
the stuff we'll get. No, you
No.
just put in the whole scenario of how they can market the winning of the Super Bowl for the Chiefs as he proposes to the most famous woman in the world. Everyone will be talking about it. It's ridiculous. Most famous woman in the world marries the Super Bowl champ. It's on all the papers, and everybody's talking NFL. Everyone's trying to pay NFL money for those pictures. If that's who the Super Bowl is being against, I'm sorry, Lions fans. But you also got to remember, I live by the philosophy that
There's
we
no
can't have
guarantee
nice
that would
things.
happen. There's also a large segment of the internet that is convinced that Taylor Swift is does not prefer the male gender at all, but she feels like she has to maintain that for the majority of her fan base, and that all of these men are complete and utter
I'm not
red
gonna say that.
herrings.
I'm not gonna say
Like
something
these
like
are
that.
internet conspiracy things that are stupid. We
I'm
don't
not
need
gonna
to
say she's not
entertain them.
interested in men. I am gonna say that she probably dates a lot of people for material for albums. But okay, do you live your life?
On to topic number 2. The 2024 MLB Hall of Fame class has been announced, Omari, and I'm super excited about it. We have 3 inductees this year that I want to highlight for you.
All right.
Adrian Beltre is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Congratulations, Adrian Beltre. He is a third baseman who played most of his career in either the LA Dodgers or the Texas Rangers, a couple of teams in between those two stints, but that's where he spent a large chunk of his time. More than likely will go into the Hall as a Texas Ranger with a big T on his cap. The man was incredible and never took the game seriously. If you have a few minutes in your day, you go to YouTube and type in Adrian Beltre. There are so many fun little compilation videos of just him being a goofball and having a good time on the field. And it's so great because on top of that, he was also a great baseball player. He had a 93 and a half career WAR, which is just insane. He passed the 3,000 hit threshold with 3,166, just shy of the 500 home run threshold with 477, career batting average of 286. Uh, he is a unstoppable force at third base, but was never quite the best in the league at any point, really. And so he's just been a model of consistency his entire career, long career, which has added up to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Adrian Beltre. As we lead directly into Joe Mauer, who was a catcher from the Minnesota Twins. Joe Mauer highlighted his career by hitting 365 at
Damn.
one point in one season. There was the discussion of could he be the guy that breaks 400? But never happened. But in my lifetime he was a unstoppable force hitting. Ended his career with a 306 batting average, 55.2 WAR from the catching position with 2,123 hits. The Minnesota Twins have not had a Hall of Famer in quite some time. I'm sure they are super excited about this.
That's pretty cool.
He was born in Minnesota, played for the Minnesota Twins his entire career, Hall of Famer, going in with a Minnesota Twins cap. Incredible moment for the state of Minnesota. Congratulations to Joe Mauer. And then finally, on his 4th year on the ballot, was able to get in. Todd Helton from Colorado was able to get in under the Colorado curse. First baseman, played a lot of years in Colorado, racked up 2,519 hits, 369 home runs for a 61.8 WAR. This seems to be around the average that we're looking at for first baseman is around, you're looking at 60 WAR, which is going to, with Todd Helton granted into the Hall of Fame, you now kind of open the door for a Paul Goldschmidt, currently with the St. Louis Cardinals, likely would go in with an Arizona Diamondbacks baseball hat on,
Fair.
but still a great Cardinal and a great ball player. So looking forward to that in the very distant future. Uh, Close consideration. Didn't get in this year, but got very close. We're looking at Gary Sheffield, Billy Wagner, Andrew Jones, Carlos Beltran. Now Sheffield was on his last year of the ballot, so the way that works now is he is then shifted to the Veterans Committee ballot that he stays on, I believe, for perpetuity. And every year has the chance to be selected by the Veterans Committee to move into the Hall of Fame. And then you have Billy Wagner, whose next year is his final year on the ballot for the Baseball Writers of America. This year, he was sitting right at around 71% of the vote. You need 75% of the vote to get in. He has been trending positively every year. So we are looking at next year for Billy Wagner. Hopefully he gets it in, because you don't want to end up on that very clogged Veterans Committee with just kind of the chance to hopefully get in.
Yeah.
And that's the Baseball Hall of Fame this year.
All right. I had heard nobody got in this year, but apparently 3. So cool.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Third topic, Omari. Now we were just giving this dude his flowers. I may have even said, well, there's no way he's leaving now because he just won them a national championship.
Correct. However, leave he did. And now Jim Harbaugh will be the official head coach of the Los Angeles Superchargers. That's right. Jim Harbaugh's leaving the national champion Michigan Wolverines to coach NFL's Los Angeles Chargers, as announced on Wednesday. He had signed a deal for 5 years. Now, he did play quarterback for the team for 2 seasons from 99 to 2000. He was 86-25 at Michigan, but 144-42 overall in college football. So he has at least 100 more wins than he does losses. 102, yes. He was the NFL's coach of the year in his first season when he led the 49ers to the Super Bowl. And he was 44-19-1 as a coach of the 49ers.
Okay, so Omari,
Well,
what do you
he led them
think?
to the Super Bowl where they lost, by the way. Just want to, so people
Right.
don't think I'm saying he led them and they won. He lost to Harbaugh.
That was the year that Beyonce drained the power from the building, right?
Was Beyonce there that year?
Beyonce caused the blackout. I think she did the halftime show, and
Okay,
then
I was saying that
immediately
was
after,
Beyonce's
yeah,
year. I do
yeah,
remember the
I think so.
blackout. I just didn't remember it was Beyonce's year. That's funny.
So yeah,
Better than the
Omari,
Black
what do
Eyed
you
Peas.
think? What do you think? Now, neither of us are super deep college football heads, and somebody else is going to go into the minutia of like, what does this mean for Michigan State and all of that stuff. For NFL, what do you think this means for Jim Harbaugh? What do you think this means for the Chargers? Is this is this a needle mover for you? Do you now immediately consider the Chargers a threat?
Immediately, I'm going to say no. Next year or like the year after next, I can see them being more serious. At the same time, I think the story for the Chargers in recent years has been, yeah, their wins and losses don't get to the same number, but a lot of their losses are literally like 1 or 2 plays or 1 or 2 points. Like they've lost the most. They're one of the teams that's lost the most by like less than 3 points in the past like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, and with Justin Herbert being a decent quarterback, if Jim Harbaugh can get something out of him and turn him into at least, let's say, an Alex Smith or a Kaepernick, as a, if he can at least get to that level, then yeah, they can be a threat because I think the defense is okay on the team. I don't know much about the Chargers except that LA don't want either team, but they want the Chargers less than they want the Rams. Um, and the fact that even today people still mess up and say San Diego. But there you go. I'm looking forward to it though. I think they're gonna be, if the 49ers of old and the Ravens of old were entertained, it means the defense is gonna be a lot angrier. And he's probably gonna end up having a more mobile quarterback if Herbert doesn't cut it. Because the Harbaugh seem to like that out of their quarterbacks. Because that's pretty much what the Harbaugh was. It was the 49ers versus, it was either Ravens West versus Ravens East or 49ers West versus 49ers East. It was 2 teams with the same philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Angry ass defense, run the ball a lot on offense. Let's get this work.
I only thought of it because you mentioned his name. Earlier in the season, we heard from him again as he was attempting to be the practice quarterback for the New York Jets. Is this the chance for Kaepernick to come back? You don't think Harbaugh is the
I don't
one
think
is the guy that brings it back?
because I don't entirely think it's on the coaches and the NFL anymore. I'm not saying he didn't get blackballed at all, but I do think there's a certain part of it where the dude's been out of the league now for 8 years. I
Uh-huh.
know he's still only like maybe 38 or something, I'm guessing. I don't think he's old, but been out of the league for a while. And Tebow didn't help things because NFL coaches and folks like Tebow. And yeah, Kaepernick has a more successful career than Tebow because he's at least played in a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Tebow did win a playoff game with his arm, but we all know how he played in every other game. But the bottom line is 6 years between him going and coming back, he looked far worse, couldn't even make it to the regular season.
Right.
So there's a lot playing into it that I don't think Kaepernick's coming back.
All right. Well, that's our three topics this week. We covered Jim Harbaugh moving over to the NFL. We covered your MLB Hall of Fame class for 2024, and then we got we went all over the map with NFL playoffs last week and this week. So
Yeah.
I hope you got your fill. We are here every single week on Saturday. If we need to talk about something specific to you, throw it in the comments down below, and we would gladly chat about it. We can also be found every week, every Tuesday on this channel, doing a different show where we watch things back and forth called This Guy Hasn't Seen. You should check it out. It's kind of like a book club with movies. Is the best way to describe it. And even if you don't check that out, I think you should do it because it's really fun. Do
Yeah.
like a book club with movies with a friend of yours. It's super fun and it's super low commitment. Omari, where else can they find you on the internet?
Elsewhere on the internet, you can find me first off elsewhere on YouTube with the Whatever We Want podcast, new episodes weekly on Wednesdays. I do it with a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show, Super Jazz.
Super jazz.
Thank you very much, as nature intended. Yeah, we talk about just that, whatever we want, just kind of shoot the stuff every week. I'm also on Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by. Streaming a lot more in 2024. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say.
Nice. All right, guys. Have a good one.